Hi, I'm Jim, and I was retired. I'm a DIY retiree sharing real life retirement strategies. In my last video, I crunched the numbers and confirmed I'm still waiting for age 70 to claim Social Security to maximize survivor benefits for my wife, Marie. But surprise, my wife decided to file for her own benefits at 65. Stay tuned as I explain why she's claiming 1 month earlier in December of 2025 to align with her Medicare start in January. So we'll cover the logistics, the financial hit, and why it's worth it for us. If you're nearing 65 and thinking about applying for both Social Security and Medicare at the same time, this video is for you. Let's dive in. So for the past decade, our strategy was simple. Delay Social Security as long as possible. I'd wait until 70 for maximum benefits, while Marie would wait till 67 for her full spousal benefit, about 50% of my primary insurance amount, or PIA, and that's the amount I would have received if I had started collecting at 66 and 4 months. Now, this strategy of us both waiting made sense on paper for longevity and higher payouts. But as Marie approached 65 in January of 2026, we started looking at things again. And in January 2026, she will be 65 and ready for Medicare. And while filing for Social Security is not required to start Medicare, she decided there were some logistical advantages to applying for both Social Security and Medicare at the same time. So the key shift is convenience. Filing for Social Security now means that she's automatically enrolled in Medicare at the same time, and the premium deductions for Part B premiums can start coming out of her Social Security checks. There's no separate bills or headaches. For instance, I'm paying with direct pay for my Part B because I'm waiting for my Social Security. So yes, she's going to take a reduction. She's claiming 25 months earlier than her full retirement age of 67, and that means her own benefit will be smaller, and so will the spousal top off. But we've done the math, and it's not as bad as it sounds. Now let's talk about the mechanics. She's turning 65 in January of 2026, and that means she's in her initial enrollment period. And see this video over here where I covered initial enrollment period versus annual enrollment period. Because she's starting the process in October for January enrollment of Medicare, that's when she started thinking about, well, that's applying for Social Security at the same time. You can actually apply for Social Security up to 4 months in advance. You can also apply and ask for it retroactively back a few more months, but that's even earlier than your full retirement age, and you'll be penalized for that as well. Now note, if she were already on Social Security, if she had claimed at 62, then she would automatically be enrolled in Medicare when she hit her birthday month. And Part A and Part B would start automatically, no more applications needed. But because she hadn't applied yet for Social Security, this one application allows her to apply for Social Security and say start the Medicare benefits as well. Now, she's actually requesting that her benefits start December 1st so that she receives her first payment in January of 2026. Since Social Security benefits are paid for the month after they are earned, she can then get Medicare Part B premiums withdrawn from her Social Security benefits. Here's the advice on Medicare enrollment in your 60s from USA.gov, and it notes that if you apply for Social Security 3 months before you turn 65 or later, you can sign up for Medicare when you apply for Social Security all in one application. Applied for Social Security earlier than that, it would automatically happen. You wouldn't need to apply again for the Medicare to start. Now, note you can select a different start date for Social Security and Medicare. Her Medicare starts in January, and she chose to receive the benefits starting December so that her check would arrive in January. And of course, that's when her Medicare benefits will start in the month that she turns 65 because she's applying in the first 3 months of her initial enrollment period. Now, are you ready to file like Marie? Well, the step one is to go to ssa.gov. Remember, you apply for Social Security and Medicare at that website. If you don't have an account, create an account, but you can apply up to 4 months earlier. We could have done this in September, but we're doing it in October. Now, you can specify the start date for your Social Security benefits, and in this case, she's going to receive her benefits starting in December 2025. And then in that application, step 3, say yes that you want to also apply for Medicare Part A and Part B with this application, and they will start in your birth month, in this case, January 2026. Now, once her application is approved, she'll get her Medicare card in the mail, and then she'll be able to shop for Part D, prescription drug benefits, and a Medigap policy to go along with her Part A and Part B Medicare. That'll all be during her initial enrollment period, plus the Medigap starts the process as soon as you have Part A and Part B lined up. You're allowed to shop for the next 6 months for a Medigap policy. Now, here's a pro tip. I've mentioned it before. If you have employer coverage, you can delay Part B penalty free. But for us, this works out best. Marie's Affordable Care Act coverage ends on December 31st, so it'll be a seamless transition for Medicare coverage to pick up then. Now, the money question, what's this cost? In my last video, I used OpenSocialSecurity.com by Mike Piper, a free and awesome website for Social Security planning. Marie's personal numbers were close to the model that we showed of a last time for a sample couple. The older spouse had a primary insurance amount of $3,000 and the younger spouse had a PIA of $1,000. And in my last video where I was looking at whether I should apply earlier, we confirmed I should apply at 70. And we looked at if she applied in January, what the hit would be, and it was a little less than $12,000. So I went back and I changed the spouse filing for her benefits in December 2025 to line up with that logistics. And it shows the couple would receive $12,420, a little more than $12,000 less in present value over the course of the lifetimes of this sample couple. And that's still less than a 1% of the present value of their model in the OpenSocialSecurity.com planning. I decided to test these numbers with my own spreadsheet too. I'll post this on my Google site for your use. Look for a link in the details below. Now, this spreadsheet is similar to one that I used when I was trying to decide 62 full retirement age or 70. And in this process, I'm going to be comparing the spouse filing at 65, 66, and 67. And I'll add not only her benefit, but the spousal top-up. Let's take a closer look at this. All right, here is the spreadsheet, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about this. These are the 3 benefit choices. If she receives her benefits at age 65, she would receive $867 a month. If she takes it 1 year early, she would get $933. But if the spouse waited until her full retirement age, she would get $1,000 a month. And these are the annual amounts for that. Now, here are the top-ups. Now, in this case, the spouse that's older is turning 70 in December. So there's only 1 month. And in case of this, instead of getting $500 if she waited down here for the full retirement age, she's only going to get a top-up of $383. And then I looked at the combined benefits. And if you look at this, this is her amount plus 1 month of a spousal top-up. If she waits till 66, she would have 12 months of the spousal top-up in addition to her own amount. And if she waited until 67, she would have the maximum spousal top-up of $6,000 a year. Now, if she waited until age 67, her combined benefit, that is her benefit plus the spousal top-up, would be $18,000. And again, that's $1,500 a month, which is half of the spouse's full retirement age. In this spreadsheet that I've shared before, you start with a silver formula that I've used to compare the difference between filing at 65 and 67. And in this case, it's $1,596. And then you're getting that for 2 years and divide that into what you're collecting early, and it's 13.04. You add that to your 67, and it's going to be 80 years old before she breaks even with this math. And now that's only her benefit. What does it look like when you add in the spousal benefits? Well, over here, again, here's the difference between this. But this is different because the spousal benefit's only 1 month. You have to start looking at something where it compares it to the annualized. So I did these maths over here. You're comparing the annualized version of filing at 65 with filing at 67. And that's about a $3,000 difference. And then you take that, divided it into your analyzed version, you got 10 years. And so you add that to 67 and you get a break-even point of 77 years old. So those break-even points in their late 70s were one of the reasons why Marie said, let's not wait. Let's not wait for a break-even. Let's just do something that's practical now. Now, in addition to that, you want to compare the spousal benefit with something. You're going to get these benefits, but then you're also going to get let's say an average of 1.3% COLA, which is the long-term average. And again, they've been running a little higher recently. But if you do that, then you start to see the break even here in the color bars of when this will finally be bigger than this, and this will be bigger than that. Here you can see that at 90, the 65 spouse will have collected this much less than the 66 spouse. That's $8,462, and about $27,000 less than the spouse that would have waited for 67. So $30,000 at age 90 is a big chunk of change, but again, that's considering longevity. And OpenSocialSecurity was looking at mortality rates. Here's the break-even chart from this spreadsheet, which takes the running totals on the prior tab of 65, 66, and 67 and looks at these lines. And you can see the running totals, and again, the break-evens are all in the late 70s. The bottom line is Marie's choice fits our retirement. We're not going to go for the maximum optimization of Social Security benefits, but it's a real-world balance. Test your scenario with OpenSocialSecurity or my own spreadsheet, which you can find at the Google sites. I'll put a link below. Hey, be sure to share, like, and subscribe to this channel if you like entertaining ideas from one DIY retiree to another. And remember, I'm not a financial planner. I have no initials after my name, so take these as entertaining ideas from one DIY retiree to another. Always do your own due diligence and seek out a professional if you need one.